Hello, hello, hello. I am your host, Joy with Coffee with Joy. I'm so excited and so elated that I get to talk to the founder and creator of the FIAS, which is the Full Figure Industry Awards, Tawana. We're going to talk about how she got started, where did this erupt of a award show came up, and what is the end goal for her organization. So stay tuned after these messages, and we're going to have Miss Tawana come on the show.
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Welcome back to Coffee with Joy. Now we're going to hear from my guest, Tawana. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and then we're going to get right into our segment. Hey, Tawana, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump right into our segment?
Sure, I'll give you my quick elevator speech. So, my name is Tawana Blasingame. I am the CEO and editor in chief of Queen Size Magazine. I am also the executive producer of the Full Figured Industry Awards, all based out of New York. That is me in a nutshell.
In a quick nutshell. So now here today we're talking about the road to the fires, the Full Figure Industry Awards. How did this idea come about, and why did you want to start the award show for so many entertainers within the content world?
I feel like the full figure industry itself is extremely undervalued. I feel like we are not seen enough. I feel like we should be honored for all of the work that we do. So I was like, it's one of the things I felt that was missing in the industry. Yeah, we have the fashion shows that honor people, but we didn't have a full blown award show that honors the industry itself. So I was like, why not do it? I watched a lot of the mainstream award shows, and I don't see people that look like me on red carpets and such. So I was like, we need our own. So I said, let me just create it. Why not?
Now creating this idea here, how did you form your team? Like what was the idea? How did you go about constructing to say, okay, what is the groundbreaking here for me to build the fires, to making sure that it is fit for the community? And correct me if I'm wrong. And as far as the community, we're talking about plus size creators. And if you could tell us a little bit, what are the creators?
So team. Of course, I have never. I'm in the magazine, the publishing industry, so production wasn't my thing. So I needed to find people who were experienced in producing shows, specifically for the industry itself. So of course, I reached out to a couple of people that I know, gave them my idea for the show, and they pretty much just said, "Hey, I'll come on board and I'll help you." So I've had talented people who are experienced in this area, not necessarily award show, but producing shows itself, that said, "Hey, I'll help you with this." One of the first people that I went to industry wise was
Hmm.
Gwen DeVoe. And I spoke to her about it. I went to Aubrey. You guys know Aubrey. Aubrey was like, "Let's do it." Reggie helped me out. So we had our initial team consisted of Aubrey, myself, Reggie, and Phil, and of course Sheena. You know, Sheena's involved in everything that we do. But that was my core team. And then I just kind of built out as the years went on after we learned, really what our needs were. Because that first year, it was just a lot of trying to figure out exactly what it
Right,
was that we needed. And then even the years after, it was every year we would realize, okay, we need this, we need a person to
right.
do this. So we just continue to build.
And the reason why I wanted you to express that, because a lot of people think, excuse me, as they see your now, they really don't know the beginning. And to really start really from nothing, because you erupted this idea and say, hey, our community need this. So you basically started with nothing, and to, bring people on board to really bring an idea and hatch nothing to something is like, to me, is tremendous. So now that you enter into your fourth year, what are some things that you see that you had to scale back on or keep, or make some rearrangement, because as you starting to grow, the eye your focal point starts to zoom in, and you start to say, okay, we need this, we don't need that. What are like your top three things that you said, we need to keep, we need to let this go, or vice versa?
Everything. Everything. Scrap that whole idea. No, seriously. But I guess if I had to think of three things, our some of our categories did change. Um, what else changed? Some of the people, the process itself, the nomination process, and the voting process, that had to change. Um, Chairs had to change. Like there were so many things that we realized the first year that we can't bring this idea back to second year. Like we have to scrap this and do something else. But there were a lot. There was a list. After that
You're right.
first year, I mean, we probably had so many meetings afterwards to talk about the
Right.
things that didn't work. So we scrapped a lot. Now to the public, that first year was perfect.
Right. Right. Right.
Absolutely
Right. Right.
flawless. But on the back end, there were some things that we could clean up, and we're
And here
still cleaning up.
correct. You're being vulnerable because, again, you guys, you all put on such a tremendous show, right? The award show, let me be exact, the award show. And people really don't know what really goes on in the back. So you explain it and allowing people to know, I commend you, because a lot of people really don't want to tell their whole story. They don't like to share their bad, and I want to say be transparent. They really don't like to express that because they want to know, hey, I'm always on the top, I'm always on the go, but not knowing that you had to start somewhere to get to where you are right now. So, as your position, what is your full position as now you are the founder and the creator? What do you do per
Mhm.
se in the organization, and how do you move the ship to make sure that it runs successfully?
Girl, I do everything. I am involved.
That's
I'm involved in every department there is. But what I did had to learn. Well, I'm gonna answer that question and then I'll tell you what I had to learn. So
mhm,
for the first couple of years, remember I had to learn a lot.
right,
Even when it came to the magazine, I had to learn a lot because I didn't know production on this level. So I was involved in everything because I had to learn everything.
right,
Now, fast forward, I
mhm,
know that I have to have department heads to manage these different departments. Like I can't manage everything. That's one of the
mhm,
things that I had to learn. So in
right,
terms of, media, because I'm experienced in media, that doesn't mean that I have to be head of media. I
mhm,
did that for the first year. But it's just having to learning how to relinquish those things,
yeah,
is where I am now. And that's where
okay,
having a good team comes into play. because I
Mhm.
can't be everything. I can't be everywhere. And that's pretty
Right.
much what I was doing for the first 2 years. Everything.
Right. Now, when you delegate these positions, how do you go about assuring that the person that you had these divisions, how do you make sure that this person match your work ethic? Because not everybody we put in position, really work up to our T. So how did you go about to say, okay, we're in our second year, I need to have someone here? What was like your qualification to yourself to make sure that this is going to be a great award show as years go?
Well, honestly, before I approach anybody with any idea, I have vetted them before I even approach them.
Okay.
So
Mm,
when I approach people, I pretty much know what your work ethic is. I have worked
mm,
with you in some capacity, so I know
right.
what it is that you do. I know how you handle yourself. I know what your work ethics are. So I have vetted you before I even approached you. I don't approach people not knowing who they are and what they do and offer them a position in anything that I do because you don't know what you're going to get. I did that once actually, and it didn't work out.
Right. You took that chance. So how did that how did
I took
that how
that
did
chance.
that feel? How did
Mm-mm,
that chance
no,
feel?
I'm still feeling it. Okay, to this
Wow.
day, I am still feeling it. And I kick myself, but I decided I was going to take a chance with somebody new, and lesson learned. You don't.
Right. And it's live and learn, right? And it's live and learn because it's not every day that you hear a black woman or individual say, "Hey, I'm starting an award show." Yeah, we do fashion shows. Yeah, they do talent shows, but
Yeah,
no one starts an award show. So you like I stated before, you're starting from scratch. So building, trying to find these different compartments because many people have someone they can call. They have a mentor to say, okay, how do you go about getting vendors? How do you go about getting stylists or designers for a fashion show or for talent? You, on the other hand, didn't have that. So by you
no.
scaling and looking, you're really like every year is a momentum. So when you meet with your team to reflect, what are some of the things that you say, okay, we need to fix or we need to make sure this does not happen again? Like what are some of those conversations when you meet with your team as you reflect from the previous show?
So pretty much it's department by department.
Mhm.
And I let people tell me where they feel like in their particular department,
Mhm.
they can be stronger in. Because that's what they were doing for that day. And then
Right.
I would tell them what I noticed and how I feel, we could probably do things different. But, I have a management background itself
Mhm.
in corporate anyway. So I know how to approach those things. But you
Right.
don't make people feel like you didn't do this, you did this wrong. It's,
Right.
let's talk about the day of. Walk me through the day of. What are
Right.
some areas in your particular department did you feel like we could do things a little bit differently? And then we'll write those things down and we'll go department by department and talk about those things and just put them all together. And then we meet together as an entire team and talk
Mhm.
about, these are the things that we gathered and this is where we are. This is what we're going to do differently next year.
Phenomenal. And the only reason why I asked that because everyone plays a part, right? Because like you said, you're not
Hmm.
there all the time. So you really have to know the ins and odds because every
Right.
year you're faced with something new when you thought you conquered it, when you really didn't.
Hmm.
So by having these heads and having someone as an overseer to really explain what happened, how can we go about it,
Yes.
really makes the award show run successfully. So just can
Hmm.
you tell us just on the lighter scale, how do you run your award show? Like, just give us like a quick synopsis. Don't have to go in detail because we know it takes a lot. People just know award show takes a lot. So, if you could just tell us a little, how do you run your award show the day of on the back end?
So day of, the team have met many times from starting from February up until the day before, even the morning of. We have gone through the process before we even get to the venue. So everybody knows what it is that they're supposed to do. So we have a meeting the morning of. Everybody goes through what their roles are, what it is that they're supposed to be doing, and then everybody just goes to work. But
Mhm.
again, it's not nothing really comes up the day of that we hadn't already talked about and already
Okay.
planned for. That's why we plan so early in advance. By February, we're in production mode and we're having
Mhm.
meetings and we're talking about just planning everything out. I want everybody to just be informed and prepared for day of. And that's some of the feedback that I have gotten when we meet with people who have been on the team. Is
Mhm.
I felt prepared, and
Yeah.
that's how I want people to feel. I want people to be prepared, and I want them to come back the next year.
And keep in mind, this is the road, people. You just don't all of a sudden become just an award show. This is a road to success. And we're just giving you just a little synopsis of how the Full Figure Industry Award is being ran, what it takes,
Yeah.
and how. And if I could say the denominator to all of this is just the communication, making sure that it's successful, making sure that you express what needs to be done, what needs to be said. And I know for a fact you've done a great job on that, Tawana. Other than that, you won't be entering to your fourth year. This
Thank
show will probably
you.
be like, now, as we now you being the head person over the show of everything, what is something that you really, if you had to pick one thing that you so proud of the show? We know the end result, but what is one thing that you're very proud of that you could say, wow, that during the process of the show, there's one thing that you're so excited about
The day of the show or leading up to the show?
in the show, like during the process of the show?
Um, I guess it would probably be people's appreciation.
Hmm.
The thing that really gets me the day of the show is listening
Uh-huh.
to the acceptance speeches
Mm.
and how emotional people are to have received an award. I think that's probably been my favorite part. I've cried on many of them. I'm
Oh.
backstage just crying on
Oh.
many of them. So it's definitely the speeches.
Oh, that's tremendous. I mean, I think it's such an excellent show, people. So we're going to take a quick commercial. As when we come back, we're going to talk to Tawana as we talk about the day of the show. What is taking place? What's the glitz and the glam? How did she go about getting her host? How did she get about her going by her red carpet? There is so much more, people, in such a short time that we're going to talk about the Full Figure Industry Awards. So when we come back, Tawana's going to continue to talk about the Full Figure Industry Awards. Latest news, today's news, current news, gossip news, you name it. I am your host with Coffee with Joy as I share any up to date news that's taking place around the world. But if you would like to check it out, please make sure you go to my YouTube channel, Coffee with Joy, where I share the latest topic. I am your host with Coffee with Joy with today's topic. Woo! Welcome back to Coffee with Joy. I'm your host, and we're going to talk to Tawana. Now, you guys heard a whole backstory, how she started with the Full Figure Industry Awards. How did she have to go about getting her team? What made her so excited? So now, how did we get to this point of how the guest shows up? What needs to be done? How is the marketing? Now, it just doesn't take that little piece. It adds a whole lot more to it. So, Tawana, can you tell us a little bit about how you want your guests to show up? Now it's the day of, but no one really knows how to show up. So how do you go about telling your guests what to wear, what is needed, how to prep for this? Because of course you want an elite show. We're top tier here. We don't want anything below. So how do you go about expressing to your future guests, the audience member, how to dress accordingly for this event?
So we post on our social media inspiration on
Mhm.
what to wear when the mainstream awards come out. We're posting the red carpet looks from those shows. So it's we try to inspire people by just putting posts up. Who would wear this? What are you wearing? Asking people, what are you
Right.
wearing? And just keeping the conversation going about the red carpet looks. Like, what's your favorite? Who's dressing you? Who's doing your hair? Like, let's talk about all of that stuff to just get people pumped about the actual show.
Now, why do you feel the need that you have to tell people this? As many people have
You
seen awards shows.
know, I have been to shows where uh there was a dress code and people don't follow the dress code. So I know how it is, or people didn't get the memo. So, I want people to come in and feel comfortable. I don't want
Right.
people to come in underdressed and say I didn't know. So, just making sure people are informed. I like people to be informed. I don't like people to ever say I didn't know.
Right. That's the last sign that you ever want someone to say, I don't know. But I think you
Right.
all, I know for a fact, you guys do a phenomenal job on letting people go about how to present themselves. So now you had on a dress that, this fuchsia, big, beautiful, grand ball dress. Now, can you tell us the idea behind that dress, and who were your designer? Because the reason why I ask, because many people wondering, like, how can I get my dress made? How can I go about getting a designer dress? Because everybody want to be the top tier. So you had on, and you changed twice according to the video.
I
You
did.
changed twice. So who made your dress, and what was the idea behind it?
So the pink dress, Robert E. Knight made that particular dress. And the inspiration behind that dress, it was I was online and I was looking for, oh my God, what am I going to wear? Because I am not a glam girl. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So despite what you see on my social media, I'm not a glam girl. So I was like, I don't know, what am I gonna wear? I don't know.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I reached out to Robert and I told him, I was like, I need a dress for the fires. He was like, I got you, sis. Well, what are you thinking? And I was like, well, I don't know. So
You're right.
but I went online and I was like, oh, this is cute. So I sent it
Hmm.
to him, and he's a great designer. But he does not mimic other people's designs. Like, you can't
Correct.
send him something and say, make me this. He's not. He's
Uh-huh.
going to make his version of it, which I respect about him. So I gave
Phenomenal.
him the picture and he was like, all right, I got you. And then he started asking me what color you want. I was like, Robert, I don't know. Just
Right, right,
so
right.
so we started talking, and I have several Robert E. Knight pieces, right?
Hmm.
And as somebody who has made many things for me, we've been to many shows together. It's he said to me, he was like, well, I know if purple is your favorite color. Do you?
Right.
But I've seen you in purple already. So let's go with something that you don't normally wear. And I
Wow.
was like,
Yeah.
eh. Lately, I've been getting into pink these days.
Yeah.
So he was like, let's go with pink. And then
Right.
he was like sending me material fabrics. He was like, which one do you like? And I was like, Robert, I don't know. So
Right, right, right.
I
Yeah.
picked one. I was like, the sparkly one. I don't know. But I think a week later,
Mhm.
I went for my first fitting. And what he put together was just absolutely amazing. Just blew my mind. I was like, I love it. So I had two fittings with him, and
Mhm.
I had my dress. I was good. I was happy.
Wow.
So
That is
that was the pink dress. The blue dress that I wore
yes.
is from Sydney's Closet.
Okay.
Absolutely
Wow.
amazing. They reached out to me and they offered to
Mhm.
dress me for the fires, and I was like, oh, sure. Like, I've never had this experience before. Let's go with it.
Right.
So they was like, go online and see what you like, and I sent them what I
Mm.
like, and they sent me. I think they sent me three pieces to choose from, and that was the
Okay.
one that I went with, and
Beautiful
it was
choice.
amazing. It was seamless. And I was like, oh, okay. If I can have this every year, this would be perfect.
Right.
Because don't
And I
ask me
asked,
what I'm wearing this year. I don't know.
I that was the follow-up question, right? Even though we're like
No.
some months away, right? Definitely some months away, but definitely was about to ask that question. But it had to ask because a lot of people wonder, like, okay, who can make my outfit? How does it fit? Like, what does it go? Some people they put a lot of work into it, like yourself. Some people like,
Yes.
have at it, whatever you think. And it's great to know a designer, right? So that you at least could feel
Yep.
like you're coming in different, that you definitely could
Yep.
feel different. Now it
You
takes
do
people to
not
move
want to
the show.
walk in and be on a red carpet with somebody who has the same outfit as you. Like, that's not a moment that you want. Not that
That's
there's anything
definitely
wrong with
a
it.
moment.
You have both have good taste, but you just want to be different. And,
Yeah.
that's why you probably should just reach out to one of these designers and get something made. You have time from now until
Mm-hmm.
then. It's not cheap to get an outfit made. It's not cheap.
Correct.
But you have time to make
Correct.
payments on it. There are some people
Mm-hmm.
who rent out their stuff as well. You don't necessarily
Yes.
have to buy it outright. But you don't know unless you have the conversation. We will eventually post up because we do this every year. We put up a
Mm-hmm.
post. We did it for the makeup artists already. We'll put up a
Uh-huh.
post for the designers, engage the designers. Hey, people are looking for something to wear. Drop your links. And it'll give
Right.
people an opportunity to go through them and reach out to a designer if they don't know any.
Correct. So see, there you have people. I mean, so you can't say you did not know. We're in the month of April. The event is November. So
Yep.
you have enough time. If my math is correct, you have like 7 months or going on six
Hmm.
months. You have enough time
Yep.
where you can coordinate with the stylist. Now we know it takes a whole lot to run a show. You can't be the founder, the creator, the host, the server, the camera person. You need people. So let's talk about your red carpet host as well as your host for the show. How do you go about picking them, and what made you decide these are the people that's going to give me life for the award show? So let's start with the
So,
red carpet, and then we start with the actual host for the show.
so all of them are hosts, but they just host on different areas of the show, right? But these particular people, I went with people that I can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these are people I know. I have vetted
Right,
them, so I know what they bring to the table. I know what they are capable of. I know what their strengths and their weaknesses are.
right.
So Reggie, of course. I mean, Reggie is funny as hell. I've seen Reggie host, so I know
Uh-huh.
his experience there. So of course I asked him, and he was like, absolutely. Last year we had Madeline Jones. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen Maddie on red carpets as well. I mean, I know Maddie personally. I know what her energy is, and I knew that she was going to bring it the day of. And her and Reggie was going to be a perfect pair. I know their personalities. So
Right.
it was when I was trying to find the co host, it had to be somebody who was going to pair up well with Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the red carpet host, and I'm not going to tell y'all who the hosts are this year yet. Okay, I've not announced that. So we're
We
talking about
talking about
last year,
last year, people. So this
right?
is all last year.
Right,
Nothing new has transpired. Remember, this is the road. We're still on the
right,
road to the
right.
fires.
My red carpet host, so Leah Nicole, is actually my cousin. Right, you
Mhm.
guys don't know that. Um, she is about to start her own podcast. Now, I've known Leah since she was born. I know her energy. I know what she brings to the table, right? But she has never co-host. She has never hosted red carpet before, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it was I wanted to give her the opportunity to do so, but I
That's good.
needed to also pair her up with somebody who they was going to work well together. Nathaniel
Mhm.
is my guy. He is my brother from another mother. I have done podcasts with him, so I know his energy, and they were
Yeah.
going to match well together. I just knew that. So when I reached out to Nathaniel, and I asked him to do it, he was like, "Absolutely." And then he met Leah, and it's like, I don't know. I think him and Leah closer than we are now. I don't know. It's like Leah took my friend.
That's phenomenal because I know it's definitely it takes time to find your host in different area to make because they're like your greeters. They're the person that
Yes.
really help move the award show. And if they're
Yes.
dull and like okay, not bringing life, that could really add because no matter what, word
Yes.
of mouth is still the best marketing, right? So I
Absolutely.
no Nathaniel, no Leah. I think they did a phenomenal job last year. Awesome job.
Thank
So
you.
commend you on that. They did an awesome job. Now I know going about getting the categories, right? When we pick these categories, everybody's hoping they pick me, that they pick my category. I hope it's there. So how do you and there's in this plethora of categories. And I know you and your team have to decide we can't pick everything under the sun. So
Yes.
how do you all scale down on picking your categories? Because I know a lot of people say, well, why don't you have one for guitar? I'm plus size. I play the guitar. Why not have that? And it's really mind blowing. So how do you and your team go about picking these categories to scale down? And if you could be very surface, don't have to be in depth. But I know many people wonder, like, why don't you have mine? Why don't you have mine? It's like, pipe down. It's okay. It's okay. So how do you and your team go about that? Because I know that's got to
So
be hard.
yeah, it is tough. It is very hard. Um, but we had to figure out um we had to make the categories as general as possible.
Hmm.
And when I say general, I mean, multiple people can fit into this category. It's not so specific as to like a model category. It's not called a runway model category where we're leaving out so many other models. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a model photographer. We don't necessarily separate it from like landscape photography or fashion photography. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and then entertainment, a lot of people can fall under entertainment.
Right.
So it's just trying to be as general as possible so we can include as many people as we possibly can. Yeah, there
Mm.
are some people who look at the categories and say, I don't fit into any one of these. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Um,
Hmm.
in that case, reach out to us and say, hey, this is what I do.
Right.
I don't see where I fit into these categories. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then we can look at it and say, well, you would fit into this category here. Or, we can take it back to the team and say, hey, this is probably an area, a big pocket that we are missing here. How do we
Right.
include these people? So, we try our best, but we can't have an award show with 50 different categories. Who's going to sit through that?
Like literally.
We do
But
our
and the
best.
sad thing about it, some people will want you to do that, not knowing they won't
Yeah,
sit. It's sad.
right.
Now, how do you go about saying, okay, we did this category enough? Or do you all have the same category every year since you started? Or have you flushed some categories out?
So we don't have all of the same categories when we started. When we started, it was over 20 categories. It was a lot. It was a long show, and the show was a little bit too long for my liking, right?
Hmm.
So we had to take a look at some of the categories, and just figure out, how can we combine categories?
Hmm.
So now looking from today to previous years, we don't have as many categories. And what we did was we combined the male and the female categories, right?
Mm.
And that was really because not everybody identifies as a female
Correct.
model. Not everybody identifies as a male model. You know what I mean? So we didn't want to make the categories gender specific anymore. So they're
Okay.
just, completely remove the genders. So that's how we were able to combine a lot of the categories.
Okay.
Next year you may see one or two more categories. I don't think we'll take away any of the categories that we have today, because I
Okay.
think we're doing well with those categories. But
Hmm.
in the future, there may be one or two more added, depending on, the feedback from the public.
Oh, that's phenomenal. See, you hear for yourself, people. It may you just have to request it. And it just takes a simple communication, right? You don't have to
Yeah,
outpost or get upset or like, hey, I don't see mine. You heard it from the founder
right.
herself, the president, the executive producer, email. All it takes is an email. They will take it in consideration. May not, but hey, at least you tried. So we're going to go to our next commercial. Keep in mind that Chucks and Coffee, we will be having Chucks and Coffee get back on October 15th. So please make sure that you look out for further information as we will be coming further in June.
Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out, bring them out, yeah. Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out, bring them out. VIP coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, lost life with that.
Welcome back, people, to Coffee with Joy. So excited. Now, I'm with my guest, Tawana, who's the founder and executive producer of the Full Figure Industry Awards. And we forgot to state that when is the show, Tawana? Can you let everybody know when is the actual date for the show? I think we got so excited. that we have yet to announce the dates.
That is so true. So the show this year is November 4th. Keep in mind that the show will always be the first Saturday in November. So if you want to go on your phone and set, a reoccurring date, the first Saturday in November is the Full Figure Industry Awards. That's just what it is. That's the date, November 4th. And it's going to be in Queens, New York.
Hear that, people? New York, first Saturday of the month. Yes, first Saturday of the month. Now, just to pick back up as we talk about the categories. Now, this is for full figure individuals. I'm a size 10. I am plump. I want to be considered. Now, have you all had that controversial where somebody say, "Hey, I'm a great model," but the industry considered me plus. What is your cutoff line, or if you're dare to share, what is your cutoff line on the full figure? Because nowadays people think, okay, I'm a size 7, I'm plus size, or I'm a size 8, I'm plus size. Like, what is your cutoff on that in order for a person to
So
meet the title?
So typically we follow Queen Size Magazine.
Hmm.
So for QSM, we start at a size 8. Now, people probably look at me and say that is not plus size.
Hmm.
Industry standard, it is plus size
Hmm.
because a size 8 is not going to fit into the straight size industry. So
Correct.
there's no in between for them. So we're not going to cut off somebody just because, they're size 8. They don't fit into straight.
Hmm.
So they would fit into plus.
Because
And
I
if
always
they
wonder.
identify as a plus model anyway, who am I to tell them that they're not?
Correct. There you go. See, because I always wonder, if it's full figure, if someone had an issue, because everybody want to be included, but everybody want to be secluded. It's okay to be
Yeah,
exclusive, but we want to be inclusive. Like, okay, you got to pick a team here. You can't always argue with someone who started their own and then deem your instructions or your guidelines for what they started. So I know some
this is
people may
true.
have started that. Yeah. And it's like a big issue.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
understand, but just because the
it
industry,
is.
hmm,
It
go
is.
ahead.
It's the what benefits them the most is
Mhm,
what they want you to follow.
mhm.
And
Mm,
I think that's unfair. Now, I don't discount it. I
no,
take people's feedback into consideration and how they feel, and if it makes sense for my brand, then I will
mhm,
consider it. If it doesn't make sense for my brand, then I'm not going to change my brand completely,
correct.
to accommodate one person.
Now, if anybody would like to volunteer or they are in the business of entertaining, they want to take pictures, how can they reach the Full Figure Industry Awards or get in contact with someone and to be a part of to help move the organization?
So I should ask you that, right? So,
Well, we on the reverse
um,
roles here. We're on the reverse roles.
right. So, for volunteers, well, anybody pretty much, our email address is admin@thefias.com, ADMIN at THEFFIAS.com. You can always send us an email and let us know what area you are interested in, and we'll give you directions on how to register for that particular area. Our media registration has not opened yet. Um, we are as far as accepting volunteers at this point. So if you're interested in volunteering, you can either send us a DM on our Instagram and somebody will reach out to you, or shoot us an email and somebody will reach out to you. But either way, whatever you're interested in, just reach out. DM or email, just reach out to us.
And it's very important because as you're starting to grow, you know, you turned some doubters into beliefs. Even though you weren't worried about the doubters, you just did what Tawana was doing. Now, before the first year looked different from your third year because we're entering to the fourth year. So if you had to compare what you went through in your first to your third, what would you say your pros and cons? If you had to pick one pro and one con.
I guess my pro would probably just be experience. if I knew then what I knew now type of thing. You know what I mean? So the pro would definitely be more experience.
Mhm.
I'm more experienced that now than I am before.
Mhm.
The con, I don't know that I
Mhm.
necessarily have a con.
Okay. Okay. That's
I'm pretty happy with the way everything is going, the way everything has gone. I don't know that I necessarily have a con at the moment. I may have to
that's
get back to you on a con. I've never thought about the cons.
and it may not
Maybe
be right.
the con might be that it's a lot of work.
But it starts to get
Maybe.
easy. Even with
Yes.
that, I would say it starts to get easy because now you and your team has put things in place where okay, we need leaders in this sub area in order to run successfully. So you don't have to meet
Hmm.
with asking people here. You have a leader here in this area who's running here, and so it makes things easier as you're starting to move. So, but that's part of the process because as you reflect immediately to see, okay, what can we fix? What was such a big problem? And I think, and I know you do an excellent job on that. Try to target what is that we need to fix so we don't run into the next year. And every year is
Yeah.
has will and continue to get better, right? Because now more, like I stated, more doubters are becoming believers because it's like, wow, okay. And it's a big deal within the industry. So now that you're moved into your fifth year, what is your extended end goal for the Full Figure Industry Awards? What would you like to see? How does that look for you? Your extended end goal? Because I feel as though the end goal, I have to let people know, end goals to me are short terms. But because you may meet your end goal like you did your first year, I met that end goal. But now we have the extended end goal. What is that goal that you see for the Full Figure Industry Awards?
So my end goal has always been the same from the time I gave the show a name, right? Oh, that
Mm.
rhymed. So
All right, rapper.
my I do poetry too.
Yeah.
My end goal for the Full Figure Industry Awards is to eventually be a part of the official award season. My end
Mm.
goal is to be televised. That's my end
Mm.
goal,
And that's definitely a
which
possibility.
will, when that day comes, will be the beginning because
Yes.
that won't be the end. But that's my
Okay.
goal.
Yes. And that is surely an obtainable goal. You're definitely on the right track because you have everything in place. And we would like to congratulate you. Yay! I know
Thank
the
you.
501c definitely became a nonprofit
Thank you.
organization. So, yes, congratulations on that. Can you
Thank
tell us a
you.
little bit about that and how did that process go before we let you go? Because I know it's a mouthful, because that is in itself definitely accomplishment. That's an award. Hey,
Thank you.
yes.
So the reason why I went nonprofit is
Mhm.
because, again, my goal is to be a part of the official award season. So
Mhm.
a lot of what I do, I learn from the mainstream award shows,
Okay.
right? And so
Mhm.
that was one of the ideas that I took from a couple of the mainstream award shows. They
Mhm.
were non for profit, right? So I was
Mm.
like, okay, if I go this direction, how do I build this out? And the build out of the organization made so much sense to
Uh-huh.
go the nonprofit route. So
Mhm.
that's the reason why I did it. So a lot of the structure of the company on the back end is going to
Mhm.
look a little bit different. It's going to look more official, and it's going to run like an official award show,
Yes.
mainstream. That's where I want to go.
Yes, yes. Definitely obtainable, people. It is here. It is here. So as you all it is here. It is here. We're going to be on the top networks. It's definitely going to take place. So stay tuned, people, because it's nowhere but on up for the Full Figure Industry Awards. So as we come to the
Right.
end,
So if
Tawana, is there
anybody
any
knows Tyler, tell him to call me.
oh oh, he's listening. He's listening. He's definitely will be
Tell
calling,
Tyler to
checking
call
the
me.
Check your DM. I promise you, check your DM. So as you all know, Tawana has been working on this, and it's had nothing but has been nothing but growth and strength, perseverance, and strong tenacity. As the Full Figure Industry Award has definitely has risen and continued to rise to the top. So
Yeah.
it's not easy, but it's definitely not hard. But Tawana, is there anything that you would like to leave with anyone that would like to, start an organization, or just start anything, or any affirmation that gets you through your daily life as you continue to pull through with the Full Figure Industry Awards?
Yeah. So for anybody who wants to do, regardless of what it is that you want to do, if you want to make soaps or if you want to become president, whatever it is that you want to do, because I make soaps too, by the way. Um, whatever it is that you want to do, just make sure that you are doing your research
Mhm.
before you take a step forward. One thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to go in this and then, it does not work out. You leave a bad taste in people's mouth, and then you have to, go back to the drawing board and try to come back. You know what I mean? So just do enough research. Maybe even do it in increments, do a soft launch, but just make sure, and you're also catering to the right audience as well, because you can have the best plan, and if you are marketing into the wrong people, it will
Right.
not work. Imagine me having a Full Figure Industry Awards and I'm marketing into the straight size. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's what I mean. The best plan, but marketing into the wrong people. So just make sure that you are doing your research. Make sure you get a team that you can trust.
Yes. Yes.
Trust. Because I built my team to where, God forbid, if something happens to me,
Hmm.
my team can move forward with the Full Figure Industry Award. Full
Okay.
Figure Industry Awards will not die with me.
Hmm.
So when you build your team, just make sure you build in a team of people that can carry it on in your absence. God forbid something happens to you.
Amen.
So that would be my advice to people.
Such a phenomenal advice. You hear that, people? Definitely research, research, research. So we're gonna hold up our cup. Tawada has her cup. We're going to cheer to a great success, another great talk show. Thank you all for watching as we bring the show to a close. Yay! And we drop. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you. And as you
you.
all know, Coffee with Joy is up for award. I'm in the semifinalist, so I would need your help. Please make sure that you follow these steps, that you will log into the Full Figure Industry Awards. They need your email address. Scroll down and you will definitely see Coffee with Joy Talk Show Podcast. Definitely making sure that you pick joy. Vote, 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 people, for Coffee with Joy for the Full Figure Industry Awards. So keep in mind, if you will definitely like to monetize, or definitely send any small monetization to Coffee with Joy, these are my accounts here. Definitely check it out. Or definitely email me with the Coffee with Joy Show at gmail.com. And as always, it is we have our guest Taja. We talk about maintaining mentally self-care as we move forward for next week. So as you all know, it is Wednesday. It is Coffee with Joy. Make sure that you live life on purpose. Until then, see you all next week and have a blessed night day. Yes.
We kick it like no